I'm just here to share a little bit about changing your mindset to change your financial situation. We have to get our heads wrapped around being disciplined as far as our finance is concerned and practicing good habits usually have a great outcome and return. So when I'm saying changing your mindset and being disciplined in your finance and you'll reap the rewards, what I'm talking about is establishing your credit. Unless you're rich, you're going to need credit. No matter what you do, you're going to need credit. Your credit report needs to be on fleek so you can save money so your dollar could be worth more with good credit versus bad credit. Even if you're not planning on buying anything, if you're driving a car, you live in a house, got renter's insurance, your credit still plays a part in the amount of insurance you will have to pay. I'll give you a few pointers, a few tips on what you can do to help rebuild or establish your credit. Let's start with the rebuild because most of us is up in age and probably got some credit already established somehow. And if it's bad or not too good, let's start with the bad. And first thing first, we got to get rid of a quick way to thank these credit repair companies. You got to check them out because there's no such thing as they can wipe your credit clean. What they do is basically the same thing you could do. First thing you need to do is see what is on there. Get a copy of your credit report as well as your score so you can know where you stand and see where you need to begin at. The next thing will be in the process of even going through this process, make sure you pay your bills on time. Make sure you pay your bills on time. Anything that, especially the stuff that is reported to your credit bureau, pay your bills on time. You got it. You enjoy it while you got it, or you're still enjoying it while you got it. Pay these people their money. Just the same as if you run into hard times. If you have been a person who pays their bill on time, and you run into a hard time, a lot of times you can call your creditor and they'll give you an extension on that debt or that bill or whatever. But you gotta have a good relationship with them when you're up. By paying your bills on time. And just like with the credit cards, they say your minimum payment is this. If you got $100 on there, and they say your minimum payment is $10. You put the $100 on there for the gas that you would have otherwise pay cash for. So why aren't you paying this $100 when they send the bill? Why are you paying the minimum payment of $10? Stop paying minimum payment unless you're in a situation where that's all you can pay. If that's all you can pay, please pay that so your credit score will not take a hit for not paying on time or paying anything at all, which will take an even greater hit. All right. So in the process of establishing or rebuilding your credit, we're gonna talk about rebuilding it right now. Get a copy of your credit report and see what's on there. Then, if something that is on there that's been 7 years, make a request for the credit reporting agency to remove it. And what the process is for them to do that is they will contact your creditor, and your creditor there's two things that could happen with that. If the creditor does not reply, then the reporting agency must remove it from your credit report. If the creditor does reply, and they have to reply establishing that is your account and they still want their money basically. If they do reply, now you will write a letter to the creditor to offer them a smaller amount, like 10% of the amount that you owe, in return for them to put it as paid on your credit report or remove it from your credit report. You will get a letter from them, and if they agree, you will get a letter from them stating that once such and such dollars is paid, it will be listed as paid in full. Most likely they might reject your first offer, so you'll wait another month and you'll send them another letter. And they probably reject that too. Why you say? Because a lot of times if you got an old debt and you go to ask them to accept something else, they're thinking, they must be got something going on that they need to fix their credit report for. So we're gonna hold out and we might get all our money because they might be trying to buy something that they have to get all the stuff cleared out for. But you, on the other hand, is not in that particular situation at that time, so you wait them out. So by the third month, I think it's like 5 or 10 days at the end of the third month, or before the third month is over, you send another letter, and most likely they might agree to that offer of 10% of what you owe them. So for example, if you owe them $800, you offer them $100 or something like that, and they might take it, or they might come back and say, "Well, if you pay us $200." We'll agree to this. Put the status as paid in full. that be the case, make sure you have the money to give it to them within a couple of days. But first, get your letter from them stating that once they receive this money, they will put it as paid in full. Do not send the money and you did not get a letter from them stating that if you pay this amount, they will remove it. Get your letter first. Then send the money. Then also get a letter stating that they have a confirmation letter from them that they have received the money. Information come from your bank or whatever, so that, or a money order check or something, to make sure you have a paper copy. Because if they don't do what they're supposed to do in the end, then now you can take the first letter they gave you and your proof that you paid them, send it to the credit bureau. Now they all have to do what they have to do, remove it, put it as whatever. Okay, so that's first thing first. That's how you clean up old debts on your credit report. To go ahead, if it's a small amount, whatever, even if you decide to go ahead and pay them in full, make sure you get a letter from them as well, especially if it's an old debt. Make sure you get a letter from them as well, because in some cases, a lot of companies, not a lot, but a good bit of companies sell their debt to somebody else. So if you send them the money and they don't really have a record of you or can't find you in their system, now this debt is still on your credit report. Even though they got your money, they cashed that check or whatever, it still might be a thing to where they can't find it in the system or can't match up the number. Because a lot of times when companies sell your information to another company, that company have their own list of account numbers that they might generate you a new account number. Now it's all mixed up. So before you pay off anything that you see on your credit report, you call them and get a payoff and a payoff notice from that company. And the payoff notice always have a date, and they have route numbers and all kind of stuff to help you to be on top of sending the money to the right person and your account being satisfied or paid in full as it should be. Okay. Another thing, and that's the easiest, quickest way to clean up and fairest way to clean up your credit. I would suggest starting with the least amount that you owe on your credit and working towards the bigger amount that you owe on your credit for the old debts, because it cleans it up faster, versus waiting until you get a lump sum to pay off the bigger amount when you still got all these smaller amounts here, and then even with time, the time is still adding up for the bigger amount. So the people might be more willing to take a smaller amount to satisfy that loan. So let's say you got $2,000 and you got 3 accounts that totals $2,000. Pay off those 3 accounts. You can still do the if it's been some time, you still can call them and offer them a lesser amount and see if they would agree to that. But even if they don't, you owe them the money. Get the letters of the payoff and send the people their money. The next tip is establishing credit. Establishing credit. Okay. I would suggest, if you have a mate that has good credit, or a brother or sister that you're really cool with, they trust you, even though you might have had some bad stuff going on with your credit. They trust you, they love you. Or even Trade-Line. Trade-Line is another service online. And there's companies around the way that offer Trade-Line service. Trade-Line is a service to where you pay to be an authorized user on somebody else's credit. Authorized user on somebody else's credit card. You don't get their credit card. You don't get to use their credit card. None of that. You're just like a rider, per se, on their credit. So all their good credit for that particular card that they put you as an authorized user on is now reflected on your credit report. And it gives your credit score a boost. Sometimes a good boost, 30, 40 points. Sometimes an awesome boost, 100 and something points, 200 points. So in that time frame, you're able to maybe open up, get a credit card, or open up an account that you wasn't able to open up before, like a bank account or something like that. Not able to open up before. In that time period, I would suggest using Trade-Line if you're about to do something major, like purchase a home or establish a business. Because sometimes you need certain things for a business, certain money, certain capitals, or whatever for business. So Trade-Line may help you in that endeavor as well. But those are the only two. Or I would say maybe a car. Yeah, I would say a car, because especially if your car is going to be a major part of your business, or something of that nature. Not just if you just want a car, got a car, and just want a car. No, I wouldn't say do that because getting trade line or even being a rider on somebody's trade line or whatever, it's going to cost you some money, some coins. Yeah, because a lot of people use it as business. I do. But anyway, yeah. Yeah. So I would suggest getting getting to be an authorized user on somebody who has really good credit. And a lot of times when people do that, they know to keep their spending on that particular credit card below 30%. I personally don't use that particular card when I have a authorized user. And of course, they're already maintaining and paying their bills on time, and they're making sure they don't miss anything, because that's going to affect the whole process if they do. Another tip, I would suggest you be an authorized user on somebody's credit no less than 3 months. It could be 3 months or longer, or depends on how long you want to pay for that service and what all you're trying to obtain. And it doesn't have to be just one trade line. You can get several trade line that all boost your score up 2 or 3. It actually will. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's not just any authorized user. There's several factors that plays on how much points your score go up. It's the length of time that person had that credit card. Also, the dollar amount that credit card is, how well they've been paying that credit card. So most trade line people who use it as a business pay all the time on time. The dollar amount, it ranges from $3,000 to $25,000, $50,000 or whatever. All that plays a part on you as a user on that particular card. So you have to consider all that too. So for example, you got a $3,000 limit and you only had the card for 2 years. Your score is not going to go up too much. But if you get somebody who got, say, $25,000 credit line and they've had that credit card for 20 years and they've been paying every single time for 20 years on time, you get on that as an authorized user on that person's credit card and your score is going to boost up. There's going to be a big difference between the person with the 3,000 and 2 years term and the person with the 25,000 and 20 years of great credit pay history. Okay, so just imagine if you was to get on that person 2 or 3 accounts with that person, your score is going to hit the roof. It is, because 9 out of 10, that person who has that going on, their credit score is looking really good, 800 plus or whatever. Okay, so I would suggest if you go through all this process to straighten up and clean up your credit, be diligent about making sure you now do the right thing and be the example and pay on time. Even if hard times hit, at least try to make that minimum payment. But as soon as you can get back on track of paying more than the minimum payment, you're good. And if you can't really manage credit card and it is a bad thing for you, cut it up. Don't close the account. Do not close the account. Just cut up the credit card or put the card in a safe and don't use it. Don't use it. But don't ever close a credit card or account, a credit card or a revolving account that is good, because either otherwise you might have something. Don't even close it, because the length of time you had that card, even if you don't use it, it helps you. Okay, it helps you. Even though you don't use the card, it helps you because it shows the creditor that you got this credit card over here for whatever dollar amount that is on there, and you're not living off of it. That's what it tells them. So when you go to get another loan or something, they're looking at all this and all that play a factor. Okay, so do not close the account. Okay, another tip. If you have a savings account, take your money and put it in a high yield savings account. Citi has one, Discover have one, American Express, Capital One has one, and I believe Chase have one as well. The difference is, like, if you got $100 in your regular savings, you might get a penny. But if you put in take that same $100 and put it in a high yield saving account, you'll get $4.06. It's 4.35% versus with your bank and your regular saving account, you get 0.01%. 0.01% in your regular savings account with your bank, Or with a high yield saving account, you get 4.35 in some cases. In some high yield saving account is even more than that. So I would highly suggest you look into a high yield savings account to boost your savings. And I never did understand when people were saying, "Oh, if I hit the lotto or come into a lot of money, I'm gonna live off the interest." Like, what are you talking about? Live off the interest? And I'm looking at it from my regular savings account, like, I'm not living off the interest. But checking into the high yield savings account, researching, doing math, and seeing firsthand, I see what they're talking about as far as, the dollar amount and living off the interest and, stuff like that. Another tip as far as if you're going to get a credit card, make sure the card you get does not have an annual fee. That's first thing first. Make sure you check the APR. Most credit cards have a high APR, but if you're going to get one and you're just starting out, get one that offers you 0% for at least 12 months. Some of them is 18 months. Some of them, might be higher, but the longest I've seen is 0% for 18 months. So make sure you get one of those credit cards and make sure it has a cash back reward or reward points that you can use to get cash back, gift cards and different things. Listen, those cashback rewards, they really do pay bills too. Okay? They really do pay bills too. And how I say this, like, you're not good with managing money and you need to establish your credit. I'll say get the credit card. Just like how you pay every week for your fuel, your gas. Use that credit card to pay for your gas. And as soon as you get home that night, if you're not good with managing money, as soon as you get home that night or that Friday when you get paid, send that to the credit card company. Okay? If you're not good with managing money, as soon as you get home that night after you put that fuel in your car or your truck, and you have that cash in your pocket, send that money to the credit card. Go ahead online and put in that payment, for Friday or the next couple of days or whatever, and pay those people. Now, the benefit in that is that you would get a bonus for using that credit card. So it's almost like you're getting a discount on your bill that day or that week. And something you have to have already anyway. All right. And not only that, it also is helping to establish or rebuild your credit. Okay. But you gotta pay them back all their money on time. Okay. It's not gonna work if you don't pay them back all their money on time. Okay. It's not gonna work if you got $1,000 credit limit and you spend $301. You're over the 30% threshold. You don't want to do that. Okay? You really want to keep it. If you got $1,000, you really want to keep it like 100, 150, $200 at the most. You don't want to go over that. Now, if you're going over that and you're paying it off every month, only do that if there's an emergency. Don't let that be the routine, because now it looks like you're living by this credit card versus having the money to just live. So when you go to get another loan, they gonna look at that and be like, no, every month you maxing out this car. You pay it off, but every month you got this high credit line going. So yeah, I see that you paid it off, but you looking by this car because every month you maxing this card out. You're using over 30% of your limit. So that's something you want to be careful of and not do. So yeah, yeah. So that's it for right now, but I will be back and sharing, because as we learn, it's a great thing when we take the time to try to help somebody else. And if you want to learn some more financial tips, check out Anthony O'Neill on YouTube. He's on Facebook too, but I be watching him on YouTube. He got a lot of videos. He bring people on that are doing amazing things. They're young, they're old. This a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of information that he is passing along from himself and his people that comes on the show to help spread this great news. I am Sunshine, and this has been brought to you by Sunshine Gems and Nuggets Financial Tips. Peace.